Joint pain is usually not proof that an exercise is bad. It is proof that force is going to the wrong place. Most people think their joints suffer because they trained too hard, went too deep, or picked the wrong movement. That is only half the story. The real reason your joints take a beating is that your body loses position before it loses effort. And once alignment breaks, muscles stop owning the load and passive tissue gets stuck with the bill. Here is what happens in the real world. You start a set feeling strong. Then one small leak shows up. Your ribs flare. Your shoulder blade loses contact. Your pelvis tilts. Your knee caves. Nothing looks dramatic, but the load path changes instantly. That is mistake number 1. People watch the movement, but not the platform under the movement. They look at the representative. They ignore the structure carrying the representative. Mistake number 2 is chasing range or reps without control. More depth feels impressive. Faster reps feel athletic. But if you get that range by collapsing into a joint, or get those reps by bouncing through the weak point, you are not building strength. You are borrowing motion from tissue that was supposed to stabilize, not absorb punishment. Mistake number 3 is confusing discomfort in muscles with discomfort in joints. A hard set should feel like work. A bad set feels like compression, pinching, or a strange ache in a place that should not be the star of the exercise. That is your body telling you the muscles are no longer driving the movement cleanly. And here is the part most people have misunderstood for years. Joints do not usually become the problem first. They become the victim when the support system underneath them stops doing its job. So what is the fix? Stop thinking about the moving part first. Start with the base. In almost every exercise, whether it is a push, pull, squat, hinge, or dip, the same rule applies. Stable base first. Clean force path second. Range third. If the base is unstable, the representative is already compromised before it even begins. Start by stacking the body. Ribcage over pelvis. Head neutral. No loose midsection. No wandering shoulder blades. No lazy feet. That sounds basic, but this is where load either goes into muscle or leaks into joints. Think of your body like scaffolding. If the base tilts, the top does not just look messy. It becomes dangerous under weight. Next, control the eccentric. Most joint stress shows up when people drop into positions they cannot organize. Gravity is fast. Stability is not. If you lower too fast, your stabilizers arrive late to a fight that already started. That is when shoulders jam, knees twist, wrists compress, and hips dump forward. Slow the way down, and you give the right muscles time to claim the load. Then own the transition point. The bottom of a representative is where structure gets tested. That is where people lose ribs, lose scapula, lose pelvic control, lose foot pressure, lose everything. If you cannot pause there for a moment without the shape falling apart, you do not own the position yet. And if you do not own the position, your joints will rent it for you at interest. Here is the aha moment. The joint is rarely failing because the joint is weak. It is taking damage because the muscles that were supposed to manage force lost the blueprint. When you restore the blueprint, the same representative suddenly feels smoother, stronger, and safer, even before you get stronger in the traditional sense. How do you know you are doing it right? The representative feels shared. Tension spreads through the right chain. The movement looks quieter. Nothing shifts for attention. How do you know you are doing it wrong? One area starts screaming for the whole system. The front of the shoulder, the low back, the inside of the knee, the wrist, the neck. That is usually not the prime mover talking. That is the weak link collecting the debt. 3-second descents expose lies quickly. Momentum can hide bad mechanics in normal reps. Tempo cannot. Add short pauses at the most vulnerable point of the movement. That teaches your stabilizers to produce force where you usually collapse. It is one of the fastest ways to turn "I can do the representative" into "I can control the representative." Use regressions intelligently. A regression is not a downgrade. It is a cleaner classroom. Higher handles, lighter load, shorter range, more support, slower speed. If the representative becomes mechanically cleaner, that is progress. Then layer difficulty back in only when the structure stays honest. Use support drills too. If your shoulders drift, train scapular control. If your trunk leaks, train anti-extension and anti-rotation. If your knees collapse, train foot pressure and hip control. The point is not to collect random corrective exercises like Pokemon cards. The point is to train the missing piece that keeps forcing the joint to cover for the system. And here is a mindset shift that matters. Stop asking, how much can I survive? Start asking, how much can I organize? Survival builds ego. Organization builds longevity. Ket Luan. So the real reason your joints take a beating is not just heavy load, deep range, or hard training. It is loss of position under load. When alignment breaks, muscles stop managing force efficiently and joints get forced into a job they were never meant to dominate. Fix the platform, clean up the force path, and the same exercise stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like training again. On your next workout, pick one exercise and do just 5 slow reps. Watch what happens to your ribs, your shoulder blades, your pelvis, or your knees when the movement gets hard. That is where the truth is. If this changed how you think about joint pain and exercise technique, drop a comment with the body part that always takes the hit for you. Subscribe for more mechanics-based breakdowns. And watch the next video where we break down how force leaks turn strong movements into painful ones.